So, welcome to today's practice. And today's practice is going to be quite a gentle one. And it's for those days you might be feeling a little bit low energy. And also, especially if you're having headaches. So, we're going to very much gear it towards that. If you do like using essential oils, a little bit of peppermint oil can sometimes really help you with headaches. And you just circle it a little bit in the corner of the eyes. But before we begin, we're going to come to settle ourselves and ground. And we're going to ground very specifically with a 3-minute meditation practice. So I invite you, if it's comfortable, to sit up nice and tall, to roll the shoulders back, and to allow your eyes to softly close or fix your gaze without staring too hard on one thing. And just take a moment to take in this moment. As you take a full deep breath in through the nose. We're just going to invoke our senses. So as we begin this practice, just notice the earth that you are sitting on. And the sensation of your sit bones just resting. And in this outer casing, the vehicle of the body, can you just soften anywhere that is tense and gripping? And just feel the sensation of all the parts of you that are touching the earth. That might be the feet, calves. And now move your awareness to the dominant smells that you might be aware of in your living space or wherever you are. Don't get caught up in a story about it, just what are you experiencing? And now, what is the dominant taste in your mouth? Is it sweet? Is it salty? Do a little swallow. Do you have any tightness in your throat? And now your eyes, even though your eyes are closed, just let the eyeballs soften into their sockets. And perhaps you can see colours or textures. Perhaps you get a sensation of darkness and light. And finally, the sounds. Start with those sounds furthest away from you and just let your hearing register them. And gradually start to bring your hearing a little closer in. Maybe you can hear sounds within your living space. Maybe there's internal sounds such as food digesting. And finally, the sounds of your inner chatter, the voices. Notice thoughts. So this practice today is to ease ourselves when we have a headache. So for that, we'll also be working with the shoulders and neck because sometimes there can be a connection here. So let's begin with getting our peace fingers, index finger and middle finger, and take them to the corner of the eye. So just the corner of the eyebrows really, and just start to massage your temples. Really take your time. So headaches can sometimes be stress related. So start to notice your breath. Can we make the breath a little longer, a little deeper? And perhaps change the direction of your circles. And then let's just take our fingers now a little further up and sort of massage your skull as if you're sort of washing your hair. So kind of rub your fingertips on the crown of the head a little bit behind. And then with one of your hands and the peace fingers, just tap your third eye. This is where the pineal gland is. Give it a little tap. So we're going to move into our neck now because there can sometimes be a connection there. So breathing in, let your right hand come all the way to your left ear and just press very lightly down onto the left ear. Let the right ear drop towards the right shoulder. Start to slide your left shoulder away from down the spine. And then just wiggle your left fingertips out to the side so they're resting on the earth, and just take a moment there as you lightly press down into the head, ever so lightly press the left ear back into the hand. So there will be sensation there. Make sure it's not painful. And just take a few breaths, just really quietening the mind, quietening the breath. We're not going to do anything rigorous or too dynamic today. Now let's take this left fingers, if you wish, to the right waist. And again, just a little bit of a press. You might find a stronger stretch for the neck. So now we're going to turn to look at the right hip as we take this left hand to the back of the, right hand to the back of the left ear. So you might feel the stretches move now to the back chamber of the neck. And breathe into all those sensations. And then finally, can we look up to the left? Just take your hand now to the corner of the eyebrow, which is massaging, and press there, and you might find the stretch now has gone to the front chamber of the neck. And I promise no one's looking, just open your mouth. Touch our teeth a little bit, so just relax there. You might even wiggle the jaw. And take a moment there, hands resting on you. And come back to nice, smooth, rhythmic breaths. And then just slightly lean back and we'll recross the legs. So just to bring a little bit more balance into the body. And let's do all of that on side two. So let's get the left hand now to the right ear and just press the left ear towards the left shoulder as we trickle the right fingers out. Just take a time to really drop into it. We're going slow. Just feel into the neck. And now let's wiggle the right fingers around to the left waist and start to look at your left hip. So the hand now is at the back of the earlobe. And headaches can feel really sad and a bit miserable. So kind of often that can shorten our breath. So really keep that breath flowy. And now let's look up to the right. Out of the corner of the right eye, we take the hand now to the temple again, corner of the eyebrow. Maybe we open the mouth as well. And now this left hand comes to the left ear as we press our head up. Take the hands to the knees now and just roll your shoulders back. And now a stretch what we call the upper traps, the upper trapezius. Let's interlace our palms now. Take them all the way up to the sky. Interlace the palms, lift the heels of the hands up, and then just drop your shoulders. And we'll just do a little bit of circling, actually. So circling into the lower back as you bring these hands up and overhead. Keep the breath full. Keep the movement really slow. There's nothing to rush to today. And then let's lift in the upper body. Let's circling into the upper shoulders. So another kind of difficult to reach part of the neck. We're going to take our hands now to the back of the skull. As you breathe in, open those arms, pinning the elbows back like a butterfly wings. As you exhale, tuck the chin and drop the elbows, but keep the chest lifted. You might feel a stretch though on the upper back. Then let's open those butterfly wings again. Inhale. Exhale, only dropping chin, elbows point to the earth. Do that one more time, opening the wings. And now, as you pause, let's stay. So tuck the chin and then lightly press the skull back into the hands as you feel the stretch into the upper shoulders, upper back. About 3 deep breaths. And then take one of your hands to the forehead and just press your forehead up. Final bit for the neck now. Let's rest the hands. Drop the right ear to the right shoulder. Really slowly roll the chin forward. Left ear to left shoulder. Really slowly roll the head back. Right ear to right shoulder. So we do have arteries in the back of the neck. We never want to throw the head back. Really slow. And then when you've done 2 revolutions one way, let's take them in the opposite direction. And I catch myself always getting really excited when I say revolution. If only. So when we're done, just bring your head and let your head naturally balance over the shoulders that are naturally balancing over the hips. And just now focus on the next 3 deep breaths, making them as smooth as you can. Notice sensations in the neck there. We've kind of really woken it up a little bit. So we're going to come into some movement now. We're not going to do a lot today. And the focus and purpose of this movement, sorry, I've got verbal diarrhea. That's enough to give anyone a headache, is to come into some inversion so the blood can get to our brain. So as we breathe in, let's do some cat and cow. Inhale, we lift the heart. Exhale, round the upper back and let the head be really heavy, crown of head towards the earth. Inhale, bend the elbows a little bit, lift the heart. Exhale, pull the tummy in, really let the head hang. Do that 2 more times. So we're just letting the blood flow to the brain. And if it's not too soon, we might now linger in downward facing dog for a few breaths, just to increase the inversion a little bit. So head is below, hanging, hands press the floor away as you lift your waist, your thighs, your hips. And just let the head hang, give it a little nod and a little shake. And then if it's okay for your body and you're not feeling too tender, just take 3 to 4 deep breaths. Imagine all that tension seeping out of the crown of the head. And then let's come all the way down. And taking our toes together now and knees wide, we're going to sit back into child's pose. Forehead on the ground this time. There's a little acupressure point there. And just do a really big no with the head. So pressing the skin of the forehead down. And then from there, very slowly, let's sit up to kneel. So as we come to kneel, let's sweep the arms all the way up to the sky. Take a deep breath in. And now take hold of your left elbow. Let the left hand come to the base of the skull and just lean towards the side. So left hand is on the nape of the neck. Breathe all the way down the left side of the body. Let's come up and change hands. So right hand to nape of neck, left hand on elbow. And let's lean back to the side, breathing in. And coming back. From there, we're going to walk forwards into downward facing dog very briefly. Again, let the head hang heavy. Take a breath. And slowly walk towards the front of the mat. A very short standing sequence before we rest. Inhale, take a flat back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, long spine. Exhale to fold. Final time, inhale, flat back. Exhale to fold. And with a little bend in the knees, let's ease our way up to stand. So what we're going to do now is all about stretching our breathing muscles so we can breathe well for when we come into stillness. So we're mainly yin based today. Let's breathe in now as we sweep the arms all the way up and overhead. Hold on to your left wrist now and lean to the right. There's a little bend in the right knees. Sorry, both knees. Inhale, bounce up a centimetre. And as you exhale, keeping that bend in the knees, let's do a half circle to the right. And as you get to the bottom, once again, the head is heavy. Take a breath in. This time, press into the feet. And as we breathe in, we come back up on the right side. So a half circle to the right. And we're just breathing into these breathing muscles so that we can be less stressed. Inhale, we lengthen. Deeper the breath, the less stress. Exhale, we lean to the right. Inhale, we bounce up a centimetre. Exhale, we come all the way down to the earth. Breathe in at the bottom. Press into the feet slowly. Let's come back. And pause at the top. Let those arms come all the way down to the side. Close your eyes, breathing in. And breathing out. Inhale, arms rise up. This time hold the right wrist, lean to the left. Pause there, bounce up a centimetre. As you exhale, take that half circle to the earth. Breathe in at the bottom. Come all the way back the same way, so to your left. Pause at the top. One more in your own time, going to the left. Bring your hands all the way down towards the ground and close your eyes. Take one hand to your heart, one hand to your tummy. Just take a moment to remind yourself you're here. And breathe into this sweet moment. So a super short standing sequence today, and then we're going to come into longer holds as we come into some restorative yin poses. So let's stand at the front of the mat with our feet hip width apart. And as you inhale, lift the arms up towards the sky. As you exhale, come all the way to fold. Again, especially let the head be heavy. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, come to a fold. Do that 3 or 4 times. It's like a little symphony for our nervous system. Inhale. A little lullaby, I should say. Final time. And once again, we're stepping back to the downward facing dog. And we're lingering here for about 4 deep breaths. Let the head really hang. All that blood rushing to the brain, the downward flow of energy. And now lift up your heels, look forward, lift your right leg, and just pause there for a breath. And then slowly take the foot between the hands. From there, we're going to sweep the arms all the way up towards the sky as we come into a high lunge. As we exhale, fingers behind you. Keep the head kind of facing forward now. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, come through back. Inhale, rise up. And this time, lift your left heel as you come into warrior 2. So in our warrior 2, we face the fingers outwards. As we breathe in, we're reversing the warrior. As we exhale, come up, both arms in the sky, and turn your feet parallel. So into a really open power pose now. And just almost like we did standing, lean towards the right, and then take a really big circle with the fingers, and then come up from the left. As we get to the top, let's do it the other way. Let's go to the left. Come all the way up to the right. And now reach up really tall as you inhale. And as you exhale, once again, let's come to a forward fold. So not down dog this time. The hands are under the shoulders. And just give the head a little shake. Take about 3 breaths. And on the 3rd breath, sigh away anything that you'd like to let go of. Soft bend in the knees. Let's slowly, slowly come all the way up. Breathing in, arms go high to the sky. This time, turn the right foot forward. We're back in warrior 2. Take 2 deep breaths. And now let's reverse our warrior. Left hand back, right arm lifts. We're just going to move the energy a little bit now. As we exhale, forearm to thigh, left arm over your head, side angle pose. Inhale, let's come back to reverse warrior. Exhale, we come back to side angle pose. Just do that 2 more times. Such a steady, slow pace. Really reach into your left. Take 2 deep breaths. Inhale. And take the little fist towards the left waist. Move the left elbow back, drop the left ear. So we're back into stretching our neck. Notice if it feels less tight when we began the practice. Just breathe. We're not going to move much more than this. Float the arms back into warrior 2. Take a breath. And let's windmill those arms forward as we come into downward facing dog. If you want to do a vinyasa, this is the only one. We breathe our way forward, lower to the earth. Breathe in, take a little back bend. And as you exhale, let's come back to child's pose. So take a moment again, taking the forehead to the ground, just doing a really big no, moving the forehead side to side. And then just lightly press the center of the forehead into the earth. And just focus on 3 deep breaths into the back body. And then very slowly come all the way up. So we're just going to come to do that on the other side, and then we're going to come to much more rest. So breathing in, left leg lifts. Take a breath here. Exhale, left foot comes between the hands. Breathe in, sweep the arms up towards the sky. Exhale, fingers in front. Inhale, they rise. Exhale in front. Inhale, they rise. Do that one more time. And then let's turn into warrior 2. Take 2 deep breaths in your warrior 2. And then raise the arms overhead as you turn that left foot forward. So we're opening into a pose, a wide open power pose. And then we're going to circle to the left and up through the right. And now we circle to the right and back through the left. Let the head really go with you. And as we get to the top, once again, a forward fold. So forward folds are good for headaches. You can sometimes do them with a pile of books under your head, but we're not here for long, so we're just going to allow it all to hang. Press the weight slightly into your heels and just take 4 deep breaths. And very slowly come all the way up, hands to hips, pause halfway. Let's come all the way up to stand. And as you close your eyes as you get to the top, notice that downward flow of energy. And now let's take the left foot forward as we bend into the knee, and we're back into warrior 2. So breathing in, we reverse our warrior. Forearm forward, right arm comes up and overhead. And do that 3 times. Just really slow, taking your time. And next time the forearm comes down, we linger there as we take the right arm all the way up over the ear. We reach from outer right foot to right fingers and we breathe. Inhale, we rise. Let's interlace those fingers again. Roll the shoulders back and take the little fist to the right waist this time. Right elbow comes back, drop the right ear. Just feel how your neck feels as you breathe. And then very slowly look forward, release the hands. This time we're going to step our back foot in to meet the front foot. And just come to stand tall at the front of your mat. Take a deep breath in. And the breath out. So we're going to come onto the ground now, and we're going to come into a yin stroke restorative section where all these poses will be for 3 to 4 minutes. And our first one will be a restorative bridge or a supported bridge. So I'm lucky enough to have a bolster. At home, you might make a bolster with 2 pillows wrapped very firmly with a towel, or you might have a pile of books. We're going to be here in total for 4 minutes. So a great pose when we're stressed because it boosts our adrenals that, of course, pump out adrenaline. So toes in front of the mat roughly. The bolster is in your lower back and you lift yourself up and walk yourself back. So the bolster is underneath the sacrum, the sacred bone, the triangular bone at the bottom of the spine. Some days, if there's a back issue, it can be too strong. So you might just want to put a book underneath the small of your back. So get comfy. For an added little shoulder stretch or to stimulate the heart meridian, you might take your arms overhead, or you might just need to have the hands resting on your body, kind of comforting you. So let your body decide what it needs. And generally, less is more. So we're going to come into total stillness now for 4 minutes. I'm just beginning the timer here. So when we slow the body down, often the mind doesn't always cooperate and it starts to speed up and do its own thing. So we're going to come to this breath awareness as a tool to anchor us into the present moment. So can you breathe in for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out. 4, 3, 2, 1. So counting the breath is a technique to keep us present. So see if you can do that for the next 3 or 4 rounds, your own count. Even count in, even count out. So if your mind is steady, we're halfway through now, you might choose to not count and just have a sense of an even breath in and an even breath out. If, however, the mind is really busy today, as some days it is, we don't beat ourselves up for that. We just come back to either counting the breath or perhaps simply repeating, I am breathing in, I am breathing out. The Buddha's first teaching. And so I'm going to leave you now for about 2 minutes to choose what works best for you. So very shortly you'll hear a bell. That is a sign that the 4 minutes are up, but we're cultivating stillness and slowness now. So when you hear the bell, take 3 more deep breaths. Let each breath get deeper. And then culminating with the deepest breath and a little sigh. So stay in this place of stillness, taking those 3 breaths. So you can do this next one on the bolster. It's not for very long, but if it's uncomfortable, you can come off. So this is a stretch for a muscle called the psoas that's said to be the muscle where we hold a lot of worry and all that stuff that can cause headaches. So let's bring the right knee in towards you. Hold on to the shin, or you might hold behind onto the thigh. Really consciously extend the left leg away and let the left thigh muscle drop as low as you can towards the ground. Then ease that right knee as close as you can towards the right armpit. So it's likely it'll feel pretty tight. Can you stay breathing with that? And just focus on the next 4 breaths, making them as deep as you can. Make sure you're not forcing that leg up. And then slowly, gently bring that right foot to the ground. Knee bent. Let's bend the left knee. Take a moment in supported bridge. Just slow breaths. And now let's extend that right leg away. As the right heel anchors into the earth, let's bring the left knee up, holding on behind the knee or on the shin. And again, just breathing. And let's extend that leg. So bending both the knees now, just take a moment again in this supported bridge. And then do be careful about the back here. Just ever so gently, we're going to roll. If it's a bolster or pillows, you're going to roll them towards your feet. Let the spine settle here. So our next shape, I'll give you 2 choices. It's we need support. It's the feet are touching, the knees are wide. So if you've got hips that feel a little tight today, you might have your feet on the floor and your knees on the bolster or the cushions. If you want to make a little bit more of a stretch, take your feet onto the bolster or cushions. So that is slightly stronger. And then what can be nice is to rest the hands on your hip points. So don't let the fingers touch because that can disturb the flow of energy. Just rest them there and then just soften the shoulders, soften the face. And we're going to be here for 3 minutes. So observing breath in body, reminding yourself you have nowhere to go, nowhere to be. And soften and settle. So breathing in and breathing out. And if you feel okay and the breath is fluid, you might now add a pause between the breaths. So we breathe in for a count of 4. We pause for a count of 2. We breathe out for a count of 4. And then we retain the breath out for a count of 2. So it's called rectangle breath, 4-2, 4-2. And over time, you might start to increase those pauses. And I believe the world record is 13 minutes. So not trying to set a competition here. That will give anybody a headache. But see if you can just explore lingering in those pauses. Because in those pauses between breaths, we enter what we call parasympathetic nervous state. And this is where our body can innately heal itself. So again, it's very good at times of stress, just to drop into a more healing space. So you have about 2 minutes there, just exploring these pauses between the breaths and seeing how long you can linger there. And notice the mind, it tends to go to the same places. 80% of our thoughts are probably the same as the ones we had yesterday. So notice them. Don't really pay much attention to them. Come back to your breath. So again, very shortly, you'll hear a bell. Stay there and take 3 more deep breaths. And then take your time. Just slowly, slowly start to straighten your legs. You might want to bring the knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a little hug. I'm going to come into another forward fold now. So again, forward folds can be really good for our headaches, but only do them if they feel okay. So this forward fold is called caterpillar. We're going to be here for 3 minutes. So in a traditional yoga class, you might see someone touching their toes and folding forward. And that's kind of where we're going, but we're making it a lot more gentle. So we want something under our knees. And we do round the spine in yin because we're accessing the connective tissue. But if your back ever doesn't like this, then don't do it. So as soon as you tuck your chin, you're in a forward fold. But you might come forward, you might rest and make a little pillow for your head with your forearms. Or you might have a pile of cushions. If you can imagine, I'm on a pile of cushions now and come to rest. But what's important is that we're slightly folding forward and our forehead, ideally, is pressed into something. And then again, can we stay still? And a forward fold actually can make us feel quite agitated. We might not feel comfortable. We might wish that we were in a better forward fold. So notice all those things that take us away from present moment. And as you settle in this forward fold for 3 minutes, we're going to invoke our senses again, like we did at the beginning, to stay present. So as you breathe in, can you feel your body and all the sensations of it resting on the earth? Perhaps you can feel the heels, the calves. Perhaps you can feel the sensations of clothes on your body. Now, what are the main smells that you're aware of at the moment? And what about taste? What's the main taste? We can only invoke our senses in present moment. So we're not looking for an answer, just an awareness. And what are you seeing? Even if your eyes are closed, are you experiencing light and darkness? Can you see colours, textures? And finally, the sounds. What sounds can you hear at the moment? And again, you might hear the sounds inside of your food digestion. And just about half a minute now, just using your senses as a tool to stay in the present moment. 3 more deep breaths. And finish with a long sighing breath. And finish with keep letting go of the jaw, especially if you're tense and clenching. And then very slowly come up. So our final poses today are twists, and they will be for 3 minutes on each side, just releasing the back. So we're going to come into what we call a deer twist. It's a bit like a pinwheel, really. We're going to start on the right because this is where our liver is. So have your right shin parallel to the front of your mat, and the left knee is in the sole of the right foot. So it's like a little pinwheel shape. The bolster is at your right hip, lying away from you, or your pile of cushions. And you're going to twist to lie on the bolster. The more you turn your belly button to the center, the more of a twist you get in the lower left back. So you're in control. It doesn't have to be a big twist. Let's lengthen the spine forward now and walk all the way up so that you're held by the bolster. And you might look away from your knees, or you might look towards the knees. So using bolsters and cushions and props is a very powerful thing at times of high stress because our nervous system feels that the heart is supported. The bolster does the work of muscles to hold us up so your muscles can let go because they don't need to do their job. So give your body to the support that's beneath you, and we're settling back into smooth breaths. So you count your breath now, or simply repeat, I am breathing in. Or maybe you're exploring those pauses between inhale and exhale. And when we're not feeling 100% and we've got things going on with us, it can be really hard to feel peaceful. So kind of acknowledge if you're struggling. There's a really good quote from Eckhart Tolle who says, when we can be at peace with not being at peace, we transmute non-peace into peace. And again, that might give you a headache unfathoming that one, but basically, can we be at peace with what is? Even if we don't feel at peace, we then become at peace. Feel the breath, nice, full, slow, spacious breath. Letting go of everything as you exhale, as you drop more and more into the support that's beneath you. And just acknowledge thoughts, they're always going to be there, but can you come back to the breath? Three very full deep breaths. We're not rushing. We're staying steady and slow. And then try and make this as easy as you can. We don't want to shift things. So as we lift up, we're just going to change the way we're facing. So turn to face the opposite side of your mat now. This time the right knee rests and snuggles into the left sole of the foot. And we twist. We twist again. So either we look away from the knees towards the knees, but as soon as you can, and it tends to be a lot easier on the second side, we drop into stillness, feeling that support beneath us. And this is our final shape before we take a very long rest. So just allow everything to soften, to settle, and to be held. And then we find the breath again. And our poem today is called The Most Important Thing by Julia Fechenbacher. I am making a home inside myself, a shelter of kindness where everything is forgiven, everything allowed, a quiet patch of sunlight to stretch out without hurry, where all that has been banished and buried is welcomed, spoken, listened to, released. A fiercely friendly place I can claim as my very own. I am throwing arms open to the whole of myself, especially the fearful, fault-finding, falling apart, unfinished parts, knowing every seed and weed, every drop of rain has made the soil richer. I will light a candle, pour a hot cup of tea, gather around the warmth of my own blazing fire. I will howl if I want to, knowing this flame can burn through any perceived problem, any prescribed perfectionism, any lying limitation, every heavy thing. I am making a home inside myself where grace blooms in grand and glorious abundance, a shelter of kindness that grows all the truest things. I whisper hallelujah to the friendly sky. Watch now as I burst into blossom. You might not feel that today if you're feeling less than 100%. But know that infinite light is always there, that potential to blossom and bloom. So just take a rest now. We've got about 1 more minute in this shape. Three more very full, very deep breaths. Finishing with a long, sighing breath out. So we're going to come to our back now for our final shape of Shavasana. So having the bolster underneath your knees can be nice if you have any back stuff going on. Or having a pile of things to elevate your feet on can also be nice, a little bit like putting your feet up. So do what feels really comfortable, because that's so important when you're not feeling great. So take your time. You might want to put a blanket over you. And for headaches, it can be good to be in the dark. So you might want to cover your eyes up. You might have a little eye pillow, or you might have a cushion or something you can put over your eyes. So you can still breathe, but you're not having too much light. So make sure you are warm, comfortable, and ideally for the relaxation response, possibly in the dark as well. And then let go of the practice now. It's been and gone. It was really only to get you here anyway. So as you come to lie down in a restful position, just once again, let yourself feel the earth holding yourself up. And just that you don't have to do everything. Let yourself be supported. And visualize your breath as a light, a healing light, moving its way through the crown of the head. And where we began massaging at the beginning of the practice, just at the corner of the eyes, allow them to completely soften. And visualize this light just smoothing out any tension or frown lines between the eyebrows. Take a long, full, deep breath through both nostrils. As you breathe out, relax and release all tension in the jaw. And do a little swallow. Let go of any tightness in the throat. Imagine this healing light now just lingering in the upper chest, creating space and expansion around the heart. And as you breathe out, let this light move to the shoulders. And just thinking about the shoulders and the neck, just relaxing and softening there. And feel the weight of your shoulders, just resting. Move this healing light, this energy now right down to the lower belly, the lower back. And really feel a sense of softening there. Release the weight of the hips to the earth, the thighs, backs of knees, and the calf muscles. And let your feet flop out to the side. And now imagine this light, this healing light or energy is slightly leaving the body just directly around you. Almost like a little bubble that's keeping you warm and safe. And just bathe in this healing light now as you just focus on your breath coming in and your breath going out. We're going to be here just for a few minutes more, just observing breath in body. Trust that you're surrounded by this healing light and energy. And just make your breathing now a little deeper than it was previously. And reawaken your senses. Sounds, smells, sensations. way that serves you best. Take gentle movements to come back to this moment. And if you're feeling nice and rested, you might choose to stay where you are. Alternatively, very gently, we're going to come up to a comfortable seat. And just take a moment to notice how you feel now compared to when you began. And then we're going to take our arms all the way up to the sky. And bring everything back to your center. And bow your head with all the tension that might be there. Just press your forehead into your hands, the third eye. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me.